Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into rural development in developing countries, specifically two quite different ways of thinking about it.
That's right. We've got Professor Amara Diop pushing this idea of corridor structurants, basically big infrastructure links.
And then Dr. Luisa Mendoza, who's arguing for something more, place-based.
Exactly. And these came out of a master's level debate, so it's got some real academic thinking behind it.
Our goal here is really just to unpack these two approaches for you, get a feel for their core ideas and, where they clash.
To give you a clear picture of these contrasting visions, basically.
Okay, let's get into it. Professor Diop kicks things off by saying, look, rural areas are often too fragmented. They're held back.
His solution is these agro-industrial centers, hubs, connected by good infrastructure roads, rail, even fiber optics.
The idea being economies of scale.
Yeah.
Right. And linking into bigger markets, global value chains.
Yeah, and he has data, like models showing logistics costs drop significantly. I think it was 35% if you're near a decent-sized city.
He points to examples like Mozambique's growth poles or that big north-south corridor in Vietnam. Real-world stuff.
But then Dr. Mendoza steps in with a counter. She says, hang on, these big projects often steamroll local issues.
Like land rights. I remember seeing something about customary tenure.
Exactly. That affects like 60% of the land sometimes. She says we need to start with what's already there.
Meaning local resources. Social capital, local know-how.
Right. And the diversity of farming practices. She gives examples like these development plans in Brazil.
Where incomes went up without huge new roads first.
Precisely. Through things like multi-actor platforms, participatory planning. Her point is infrastructure has to fit the place, not just be imposed.
Okay, so this really highlights a core difference in scale, doesn't it? Diop's thinking big macro-regional.
Yeah, aligning public and private money for these major hubs. Agglomeration economies, that's his focus. It's sort of based on classic ideas like Kristall's centrality hierarchy.
A hierarchy of places, whereas Mendoza is focused much more locally.
Much more. Micro-local, interconnected village poles. She talks about territories vécu, lived territories, and these sort of hybrid agro-social systems.
So we've got these metaphors they use. Diop's is like a spinal cord with nerves.
Yeah, a central artery feeding secondary connections. Mendoza's is more like mycelium.
Like a fungus network. Fine, adaptable, spreading everywhere.
Exactly, a decentralized network, which of course leads to questions.
Right. Mendoza asks, what about the places off that spinal cord? Do small farmers get pushed out?
And Diop counters, asking, well, can these little mycelium hubs survive long-term without bigger connections, without proper markets? Are they just dependent on subsidies?
And how they actually do the analysis differs, too, yeah. Their methods.
Totally. Diop uses things like high-res GIS mapping, cost-distance models to figure out accessibility, very data-driven, large-scale.
Well, Mendoza uses... talking to people.
Participatory mapping.
Yeah, photo voice, gender analysis, really understanding the local dynamics, and then for projections. Diop's using big economic models, input, output, CGE, that kind of thing, combined with land use change models.
Right. Mendoza uses local stories, narratives, but plubs them into agent-based models, ABMs, to simulate how households might actually behave.
And financing follows the same pattern. Diop advocating for big public-private partnerships, maybe land value capture.
And green funds. Mendoza's looking more at community budgets, local climate funds, cooperative-based finance.
So they even debate the methods themselves. Diop questioning if the qualitative stuff is too subjective.
And Mendoza defending her approach, saying ABMs can rigorously integrate narratives and criticizing the big models for, ignoring the informal economy or maybe overstating benefits of huge projects.
Okay, let's make this concrete. How does this play out with specific things like special agro-industrial zones, ZAIS?
Right. Mendoza flags the risks: land grabbing, biodiversity loss, big concerns.
But Diop would argue you can manage that with clauses for local jobs, environmental rules, eco-conditionality.
That's his counter, yes.
Yeah.
Or take community-driven development plans.
Diop might worry they're too scattered. Little projects everywhere, not adding up.
Yeah, lacking network effects. But Mendoza says the social network is key, pointing to successes like coffee co-ops in Jimma, Ethiopia.
What about tech? Smart villages.
Mendoza worries about a digital divide, getting locked into certain tech vendors.
And Diop suggests ways around that, like shared district data centers, like the Rwanda Smart Kigali model.
Exactly. One more: payments for ecosystem services, rewarding sustainable land use.
Diop sees challenges there, like high transaction costs if land is fragmented. How do you track it all?
Mendoza suggests new tech again, maybe blockchain light for tracking parcels. She mentioned a trees on chain example from Costa Rica.
So wrapping up, their final messages really capture the difference. Diop's is kind of think big, then adjust.
Yeah, arguing you need that strategic infrastructure push, especially to keep young people from leaving rural areas.
While Mendoza's plea is more think close, then connect.
Right. Empower local communities first. That's the prerequisite, she argues, for infrastructure to actually work well for them.
It's interesting, though. They do agree on some things. The need for good spatial data, for example.
In ecological corridors, climate transition, there's common ground there.
But the core differences remain stark. Macro versus micro scale. Top-down PPPs versus bottom-up cooperatives.
And that fundamental question of priority. Infrastructure first or social capital first?
Which really leaves you, the listener, with something to think about. What about hybridization?
Could you actually blend these? Imagine, say, developing those infrastructure corridors, but with a genuine community governance baked in.
Like using community development agreements alongside the public-private partnerships.
Exactly. It makes you wonder how these apparently opposite strategies might actually be combined on the ground. Could that be the most effective path forward? Something to ponder.